What I care about is Destiny explaining in an honest setting what his approach to the N-word is and how he engages with someone who's been personally offended by it. That's all I care about right now. This is the most unlikable motherfucker on the planet. Have you seen him? His friend is fucking pouring his heart out, and he's just like, yeah, gotcha.
You're appealing to emotion by trying to talk to me like a friend.
What's sadder is that he's trained Trihex to do the rebuttal for him and say, like, look, I know I'm appealing to emotion right now. Look, I know, but it's just because I'm your friend. Now, I know that doesn't actually mean anything, but you know, what I mean to say, like, it's like fucking battered housewife. It's so brutal. It's so rough watching how Trihex has to, like, kind of reframe emotions into, like, autistically tangible things that Destiny is gonna, like, regard with any level of care and nuance, like
respect.
Well,
there comes a point where that's not like an autistic thing. That's just like a lack of empathy thing.
Sorry, when I mean autistic, I mean bad. Sorry, just every time I say autistic, just assume I'm saying bad. There you go, that's better. We're on to the Destiny side of this. All right, history of Destiny saying the N-word. Number 1, the origin of the story, okay? This is the first instance. This is him talking to his black friend Trihex about why it's okay for him to say the N-word. This is a 40-minute debate. We're going to rush through it, all right? We're going to get to the key points because I think it's important just to get Destiny's general take, his general position. Oh.
All right. Do you want to just do this as like a conversation, or?
All right.
Which happens to be people don't care about, like, I guess it's kind of
what was it?
Someone else. I haven't rewatched like
okay.
Yeah, we can start.
What are you doing, you crazy guy?
So that's kind of I kind of want to recap what happened on Raj Rael last week, and you can I'll try my best here to recap to the best of my ability, and you can just kind of like stop me whenever if I'm inaccurate on the whole thing here.
Yeah.
To an extent, you were being ambushed by Bath Boy and someone else. I haven't rewatched it in verbatim, but like you're getting ambushed over N-word usage, and then you said something along the lines of like I used N-word the hard R in private all the time, or something along those lines. And it was like, or like you don't care about like.
All right, Chakkie has assured me that he's at his actual casting setup, so we're gonna let him in. Okay.
Hello, I'm at the nice setup.
You don't care about. I don't want to throw me in here, but like. You don't care about minorities or advocacy for things like that. You care about whatever makes the world a better place for you to exist in, or makes the world work better, which happens to be people get along and there's less racism in the world, but you're not particularly keen on advocating for those things specifically. Is that you said something along those lines, right?
So like there's like a fundamental I don't want to get like too down like the ethics train, but like there's like the fundamental value that I typically look for is like what makes the world like kind of like a better functioning place for everybody, kind of, yeah. So there's not like any issue that I like intrinsically like care about. So like I don't care about like capitalism or freedom or liberty or minority rights or white people rights or anything like that. It's more just like at the end of the day, like what makes everybody kind of like get along better. And it seems like there are ways to do that that kind of make sense. Like it seems pretty hard to have a society where everybody's like happy and healthy if there's slavery, but it seems a lot easier to have a society where people are happier and healthier when there's like when people have like equal access to like education and economic opportunity and stuff like that.
Bruh. And the N-word, of course.
Is he saying slavery was more efficient? He being down.
So basically, what he's doing. What he's doing right now is he's basically deferring to his, like, now this is older, so I don't know if it's quite identical with his position today, but it's pretty similar. This is liberalism, right? This is the anti-ideological vacuum where you're basically just like, yeah, well, liberalism's the best ideology because I just pick all the good things from every ideology and then it all works. But the problem you're going to have is that it's going to be internally inconsistent. And so he ends up in these weird situations where he has to basically say that saying N-word, saying the N-word in private with friends is fine. But then when you do that, it creates a harm in that other people are going to start thinking, oh, so I should ask my black friends if I can say the N-word. And now suddenly that harm has like escalated beyond what may, and it's quite unlikely, but may be potentially an okay situation in private. The second you publicize that situation, that's where the harm comes in. Because your dipshit fans are going to run around and start using it or looking for opportunities to use it. And they're going to think it's okay. Only under the express uncoerced permission from someone should you be doing something like that. Saying the N-word is like sex. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it.
It's like consent, you mean?
Look, Chakkie's looking up at me. he's just looked up at me.
If you only understand consent through the guise of sex, we need to have a chat.
I am such a powerful sexual being.
You're getting cancelled, dude.
I understand it.
You're getting cancelled.
I don't know if you've seen that video, but
yeah, T
the what?
Or through P? Did you say?
Consent is like T. Oh, it's cringe. I hate consent.
Yeah, consent's also like P.
There you go. True.
You know that? I have to ask.
I think that T.
Even if the jellyfish stings you, I can't just pee on you. You know.
Terrible take. You're a Chris fan. You're coping, Watsaku. I'm sorry. Very
What's Aku? Elaborate. Tell us why.
He's
There's
saying
no
the
point
N-word
just saying
isn't like
terrible
sex.
things.
That's crazy. That's crazy. He doesn't think the N-word's like sex. That's completely wrong. That's insane. What the fuck? No, it's about the uncoerced permission,
Ooh,
right?
put pleasure on the axis.
Whose pleasure?
Pleasure and
Whose
pain.
pleasure? Whose pleasure?
Pleasure and pain.
You're just a fucking sicko. I'm not putting pain and pleasure on the chart. Let's keep
Yeah, and
watching.
like
Oh, you think it doesn't fit?
you're right in the case of Destiny, because it's like a lot of people are sort of a lot of people in his audience are basically agreeing with him and sort of normalizing saying it in
yeah.
in a similar vein, in a similar context. So
No, I can simulate the Destiny debate for you, Chakkie, and I would say, well, if we normalize it in the way that words like idiot or, to a lesser extent, retard are being normalized, eventually won't they lose the sting that made them bad in the first place? And wouldn't that be the ideal? We take the harmfulness out of the word by normalizing it broadly. Beat that, motherfucker!
no, that wouldn't be the same thing at all, because
Why?
you're still using it as a descriptor, not for people generally, or for you're still using it with its original context in mind. You're just making it okay to say it with that context. You're not necessarily changing the meaning in the way that idiot went from like mental disability to stupid person. The meaning isn't changing when you say the word in that different context. The meaning is the same.
If,
You're just
if plenty
making
people
it okay
mean
to
it to mean friend, the same amount of people will
So
still
this
mean it to mean
this
the
sounds
same
like
thing.
yeah, but this now sounds like a good defense of the soft A N word, but the hard R is still banned, right?
No,
like you
because
can-
the bad people will still use the soft A.
yeah.
Yeah, but bad people can say bad things in lots of different ways. Bad people say lots of bad things today without using that word, right?
Yeah, but sorry, do bad people use idiot as a slur for mental disability?
No,
they don't.
Well,
No,
no,
they
but
don't.
that's because it's taken. It's because it's been so long.
I think the
It's been
level
so
of
divorced
abstraction
from its
is much
context.
higher with this word because of the history, and we've never hit a point or have an example of it ever getting to that point. So appealing to like other words doing it in the past doesn't really.
Oh,
work
so
as an
we're gonna
argument
put
in
we're
this
gonna put
case.
the sorry
And,
we're
like,
gonna put the N word on the pedestal, are we? We're putting the N word on the pedestal, are we? Okay.
Yeah, hundreds of years
also
did
have
that.
you also have to consider like what how long it takes and the consequences of trying to do that, because it might not be worth it to necessarily like it might not be worth it to have idiot be normalized if for an extremely long time mentally disabled people would have to deal with it in a way that they wouldn't have had to previously if it wasn't normalized in the way it is. Like I would much rather just use other adjectives. The main problem with that argument is you're thinking about the end goal, but you're not thinking about the consequences of getting there. Like it's
Well, yeah, but the
it's
ends
probably
justify the
not
means,
worth
right?
it.
Like, yeah, but it's because it's
Hang on a minute,
infinite.
get the other hat
Hold
on.
Well, hold on. The means, listen, all right. The means that these guys had, okay, all right.
No, because the ends don't justify the means. You're just going to come
Yeah,
up
they
with
do.
a different slur for the same
What?
group of people. Like
I
that
keep
doesn't.
forgetting where
They
my hat
don't.
is. Oh, there we go.
It doesn't.
So,
it doesn't
listen, let me
help.
explain-
The world
let me
isn't
explain-
meaningfully better
Chakkie,
because
let me
idiot
explain-
doesn't mean mentally disabled in the way that
Let me
it did
explain
before.
why the
It
ends
doesn't
justify
make
the
a
means. Hold on.
difference. No,
Okay.
you're playing devil's advocate to a point that's
Alright,
gonna make things way worse.
That's okay. That's fine. All right, we'll keep moving. All right, we'll leave it at this point because I think there are interesting arguments coming up.
So you said something, and then I don't know. I can't really quantify or even specify exactly what shocked me or hurt my feelings or whatever. And then, but that wasn't really the thing that really got me. I mean, that was like some elaboration here. This does seem pretty alarming and jarring to me. To know that you may use like a N with a hard R in private, because you don't use it around me, and so it just feels like it's something. It just feels like at surface level value a little bit disingenuous. But I'm
So
not here to
call
say
me
that
it right now,
definitively yet,
Destiny.
Just that that is why I felt how I felt at that time. And then when I brought it back up, I don't know, 2 or 3 rounds later into the Raj Royale, you then when I kind of like told you how I felt, hey, I don't know if I can associate with you because it does seem disingenuous of me to be around someone who condones that kind of behavior. You like
Okay, look, I'm not the kind of listen, I'm genuinely not a Destiny anti-fan. I'm not a fan, but I'm not an anti-fan. But the fact that his friend is pouring his fucking heart out and he's just like looking at his computer screen, just like kind of typing like he's in a fucking Zoom meeting. That
Yeah, that's what I do right now.
It's so
That's what I do
brutal,
right
dude.
now.
He's just like fucking
Yeah, it's
please.
because he doesn't care. Like he doesn't.
Yeah.
This is the
He's
thing. Like
yep,
he doesn't care
gotcha.
about. And
Anything else?
This is the other
Anything
thing
else?
is that like his audience is in this similar boat where people will come up to you and they'll say like, hey, look, no one in his audience cares. And it's like, they don't care because they all left. All of the friends that would have cared left him. He's created his own bubble where the only people who don't find this disrespectful and terrible are the people who watch him. And that's not a good thing.
Well, no, but for him it is a good thing, right? He's intentionally trying to remove irritating progressives so that he has more flexibility.
Inverse Hassan Max.
Well, no, because I don't. Kind of.
I don't think it's
they're in the same place, but with two different audiences.
I think that Destiny wants to remove progressives, but I think he has other ways of doing that he's done intentionally. This isn't intentional. This is just the way he is.
But don't forget Hassan, the way Hassan works, right? Hassan has created like an echo chamber, whereas I think Destiny is looking for ways to like exit off pieces of his community. So he's like just trying to excise like annoying parts of the left. And the reason he's doing that is because these are the pieces that tend to start to like constrict you in and limit your choices, because of course, you know, again, like the ideal version, I think, of Destiny's sort of media and politics is that he's as free as necessary to pursue as much as many different like mainstream groups as he wants, right? He wants growth. He wants to enact, you know, some good political change in the liberal sense of like canvassing and whatever.
Yeah, but this doesn't.
Let me finish. No, but no, it does. I think it does, because what it does is it basically removes the pieces of your community that are going to limit your growth, and then you can basically get access to other areas as a result of those pieces of your community not constantly harassing you about it. Whereas Hassan is so restricted by...
There's a sense of
Hassan
like...
is restricted.
Yeah, sorry, I was interrupting you, but there's a sense of like, if you go through enough controversies, you become kind of immune to it, because you build a base who just stops caring. There are much better ways to do that, much more effective ways that are actively less harmful, but I can kind of see what you mean. But I think at the end of the day, this is also going to limit his growth long term more than it benefits him, because the average person is not going to think that's okay. Like even the average like liberal person is not going to sit there and be like,
does he want the average person?
This is fine.
Does he want the average
person?
person?
No, he wants like he
wants autistic debate bros of all kinds and creeds, right?
He wants people like him. He wants autistic liberals who I'm autistic too, okay. But he wants,
so you know what? You know what sucks? I literally had my finger on the button. I was so ready to fling that back at you for. Oh, so is autism okay now? But he caught it. God damn it! He knew.
He wants.
Damn it! I so nearly caught Chakkie. God damn it! I was so ready.
He wants people to hyperfixate. And like these kind of debate bro people who maybe don't have great social circles to sort of hyperfixate on politics and focus on him, and he wants them and to be sort of in his community. And sorry, this is incoherent, but my point is he wants an audience of basically liberals mostly with his politics who fit roughly into his demographics. He wants like a legion of him. Is what it feels like.
That
is what it feels like he's got.
Yeah, I think he's building like a cloning project. He wants to create a bunch of people who are going to provide like a liberal antagonistic force against extremism, like in all directions. I think that's his general vibe. Is he's anti-extremist? It is almost like his fundamental principle.
He's building the Death Star over there.
No, because the thing is, he'll say that, but like the way he treats, maybe to an extent.
Name an extreme position he has. Name an extreme position he has. He's fucking milk toast on everything.
No, I agree with you to an extent on that, but the main thing that I was going to say is that he has this centrist problem where the people that he's pandering to are disproportionately on the right. So he's going to be a lot more receptive and like friendly with Nick Fuentes than he is with someone like Hassan.
Well, I mean, those are bad examples. Those are bad examples because he's equally distanced from both of those people, right? Like,
well, he was very friendly with Fuentes for a while.
Well, yeah, he was very friendly with Hassan for a while, and then the same thing happened in both cases. Hassan shit on him, Fuentes shit on him, and he cut them both off. The only reason he's ended up like
I didn't realize he was friendly with
Hassan came from his community originally. It was the Vosh story, same thing, exact same kind of process.
Whoa.
Hassan, he didn't come from his community, but he was uplifted very heavily by Destiny in the early days. It's true.
Oh, okay. Maybe he was uplifted because I know that he like
Yeah.
came from like the Young Turks and he had bits there, and that was kind of when he became personality.
Yeah. But he was like he started streaming on his own when he left the Turks, and he didn't bring a following from the Turks to him. He was pretty small. This guy's Destiny derangement syndrome. Yeah, all of my viewers do. I'm sorry. I apologize for Chakkie. Okay.
I'm not like.
We're all big Destiny fans here. All right. Deep down, we all love him.
I have Destiny derangement syndrome because I think saying the N-word is bad.
True.
This is my take.
True.
I don't know. I was coming from a very emotional place. I do admit it was an appeal to emotion, which is not automatically a bad thing. I mean, because I would assume because of our functioning friendship that emotions do exist in some capacity. And I don't know, you kind of came back with something.
It's so rough watching how Trihex has to like kind of reframe emotions into like autistically tangible things that Destiny is gonna like regard with any level of care and nuance, like
respect.
Well,
No, because that's not
emotion.
That's not like a what I was gonna say. There comes a point where that's not like an autistic thing. That's just like a lack of empathy thing.
Sorry, when
like,
I say sorry. When I say autistically, what I mean is
that's more sociopathy
with it. Yeah. Well, no, sorry. When I mean autistic, I mean bad. Sorry, just every time I say autistic, just assume I'm saying bad. There you go. That's better.
Yeah. All right. Get the other hat back on.
Hitler was probably autistic. I don't know. See, bad. See, just replace bad. There you go. Easy. Hey, he was a vegetarian too.
Vegetarian.
Right? Yeah, nice try. Was I got there first?
It made me feel disposable because you're just like, well, if you feel that way, buddy, just and then like you go about if I'm invading your private thoughts or whatever. Sure. And that's really what
Destiny, I beg you, make eye contact. Make some eye contact with this man. I'm begging you, dude. I'm begging you.
How quick
Please.
you were.
Why would he require
like,
them even slightly?
My gut feeling is that I don't know if I can associate with you with that, knowing this knowledge now, because now knowing what you publicly admitted, what you may or may not do privately, affects my perception of you, and I don't know if I can really deal with that. And then your I guess response to that is that like
it's so sad.
What's your fault you feel that way? Kind of get over it, and I'm ready to dispose of DC podcast.
Sure. So let me talk about that statement real quick, okay? So obviously I do like I talked about this on stream a little bit last night. I do a lot of debate and I do a lot of like very complicated conversations pretty often. And as a result, like I think I'm generally like pretty good at getting my point across, or pretty good at making people agree with me.
So your mic is like super freaking out right now.
Wait, can you hear me? Testing 1 2 1 2.
Chad, do you hear this right now, or is it just me?
I think I'm right about my fundamental depiction of Destiny as someone who basically only cares about holding the most consistent position, the most defensible position. Like morality barely comes into it. It's all about how firm is this position defensible against like the people I'm gonna have to fight with. I think that's why he's taken some more like middle ground milquetoast positions on like trans issues, like why he's tended towards more like true scum stuff or transmedicalism, because it is more defensible. It is just straight up more defensible, easier to defend than the like broader range of trans experience, which is a lot more abstract and difficult to defend against like most people, liberals, conservative, whoever. So I think that's why he's just like taking these kind of positions. But we'll see. Maybe he'll do a turnaround. I don't know. Unlikely.
Can you say it again?
Can you hear me? Testing 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, I hear you good. Sorry.
Okay. So generally, I think I'm like pretty good at like debating people or getting people to agree with the point, or like making sure that my point is like logically consistent, or that my argument like is sound or whatever.
So hold on. Now that's a really good moral consistency. Is moral consistency not important? Yes, incredibly important. Did I say moral consistency, or did I say consistently defensible, right? Like the most defensible position, right? Having a consistent position does make it defensible, but these are slightly different things. If I cared only about moral consistency, then I would be supposedly doing the right thing all the time. But he only cares about defensibility, so he's willing to do something that's slightly immoral in exchange for a greater level of defensibility in an argument. Hence things like transmedicalism. That's my point, right? Like he prioritizes above all else how defensible the position is.
Yeah, like he's fine with having his position on like neopronouns, for example, because neopronouns are weird and he doesn't want to have to explain it.
Dog, he's literally arguing against the whole internet about being able to say the N-word in private. How can you say he's taking the most defensible position? Aha! You've fallen into the trap. You fool. You idiot. That's literally the entire thing. Defensible, right? But if you were to maintain the most defensible position and no one ever attacked you, you'd be building a fucking monument to nothing. You'd be a tree falling in the forest. The two things that he needs for growth are for people to constantly be attacking him and for him to have unassailable positions. He needs to build a fortress and he needs people to attack it. So the ideal scenario is for him to find a position that seems indefensible, but is in fact very defensible defensible. Hence his whole like incest discourse, right? He picks a and he says this very explicitly. He picks a thing that seems completely immoral, completely insane to defend, and then you walk into it and he's like, haha, you fool, you idiot, and then he pulls up the fucking drawbridge and the moat and you fall into the fucking alligator pit. That's what he does every single fucking time. I do the exact same thing with the dog brothel conjecture, right? A dog brothel is no more unethical than cheese. It's the exact same meme. Extremely consistently defensible, extremely morally consistent, but it sounds insane, and as soon as I say it, 3 people in the chat are gonna go, what? And then you're gonna fall into
So you're a hack fraud, is what you're saying?
I'm a hack fraud.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and like it's also that he wants to build an audience who is never actually going to attack him on his positions. So by building an audience who are like
Drifter snail.
by doing it as consistently as much as he is, he's built an audience who's just okay with him saying it. And he's also built an audience who's probably okay with him saying some other low-key not great stuff, because you know, if you're okay with someone saying the N-word, there's a chance that there's other things that follow on from that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's why he can get away with some of the stuff he said, like some of like the vitriol he had when discussing the sort of BLM stuff, for example.
Oh god, yeah.
Like his audience isn't going to call him out for that, but it was like it was hateful in a way that he is not hateful to conservative movements. Let's put it that way. So
Yeah.
it was yeah.
This guy's annoying me. Well, that's not what you said. So if you said it correctly the first time, you'd have said it needs to be contrarian and consistent, which I partly agree with. No. Here's what I said. I said that the most important thing, the thing he values most highly, is its defensibility. I would then put, honestly, if I'm being very, very honest, I would actually put morality. Then I would put contrarianism. I know. This is where we differ. I know. This is probably where we differ. But that's fine. We differ on this piece. I do think that his moral compass sits above the contrarianism. But I do think it's still a major feature. And they probably come into. I'm not saying he's never done it the wrong way around. I'm saying that his system is probably like this is how he wants things to be. Maybe he misses the mark sometimes.
This is such a weird diagram.
Hell yeah!
Do you really think his morals are that strong?
Well,
I'm not sure if he has many.
Well, when I say morality, I mean like. So don't forget. Oh god, here we go. All right. So when I say morality, don't forget. No, shut the fuck up. When I say morality, don't forget that our moral systems are different. You know what? I'll call this consistent morality. Okay? Because his defense of like private property and stuff, right? He has morals that are consistent, but they're based on a different foundation to us, right? Like we have a different moral framework than Destiny does, but the moral consistency within his own moral framework of things like defense of the time investment resulting in a justification for using violence to defend private property, for example, are different to us because we have very different ideas about like material goods and the value of them. We would never beat a bitch over bionicles like Chris would.
I need to make a small distinction. I said that I said that he wants an audience that doesn't disagree with him. That's not strictly correct. He wants an audience that will never leave him for a position that other audiences might find immoral enough to leave him. So he doesn't necessarily want an audience that doesn't disagree with him, but when he does something deranged, he wants an audience that will stick by him no matter what, which he has, right?
Yeah, I think that's true.
Like he has members of his audience who will see him, do what he did to QT and basically make fun of somebody for being the victim of like deep fake shit, and they'll be like, yeah, this is fucked up, but also like I'm still gonna watch all his content, I'm still gonna do everything, or hear him say this stuff and just be like, yeah, this is fine. He wants an audience of people who are also centristy and compromisey enough that they're willing to sort of overlook any controversy that he has in order to keep watching him, not necessarily one who is on his side every time.
Yeah, I think you're mostly correct. I would just kind of add that. Look, I think that he's the perfect liberal, right? Like he's an anti-ideological vacuum. Like his ideology is way less important than his like consistency or his defensibility or like the the logical framework he's using. And honestly, I don't hate the idea of conservatism being replaced with like destinyism, right? In a world where conservatism isn't running rampant in the way it is, I think that a reactive contrarian who forces forces you to filter like dumb leftist emotional arguments through like some kind of like, you know, logical rigor, I do think is actually a good thing sometimes. I do actually think that it has a benefit, and he does provide that service to some extent. I don't hate that leftists do have to overcome him, because there are so many dumb leftists. It'd be great. It's good to have some kind of hurdle they have to overcome, and one, I think, reasonable hurdle to overcome is being able to beat Destiny in a debate, which I have done, of course, and so I passed that bar with flying colors.
I would much rather it was like a more thoughtful version of critique than what we see with Destiny in debates, but I kind of get where you're
I think
coming
he's
from.
thoughtful when he's not debating leftism.
It's just hard for me to see debates as like the most effective.
Okay, Hassan,
learning
moving on.
experience. I'm not like there are things that you can learn.
He's the
but,
lefty
like,
tutorial boss. Yeah, he's the Elden Ring first boss. He's the fucking, he's that like horrible. What do they call it? The grafted
No,
scion.
the Tree Sentinel's difficult. What the fuck are you talking about?
No, the grafted scion. It's the first boss, the very first one in the thing.
That,
in
the
Elden
one you
Ring.
die to?
Yeah, well, I don't die to him. Do you die to him? Jesus Christ, get good, dude. Holy shit, you die to him?
Cool.
Die to him? Bring some fucking black fire bombs, okay? Easy
yeah.
mode.
See, that's a really good example. It's somebody there who doesn't necessarily like in your chat who doesn't necessarily care about Destiny.
He's a DPS check. I didn't say I like him. Whoa, hold on. I didn't say I like him when he's not arguing with lefties. I said that he's more nuanced when he's not arguing with lefties. I never like him. This is the most unlikable motherfucker on the planet. Have you seen him? His friend is fucking pouring his heart out, and he's just like, yeah, gotcha.
You're appealing to emotion by trying to talk to me like a friend.
Yeah. What's sadder is that he's trained Trihex to do the rebuttal for him and say like, look, I know I'm appealing to emotion right now. Look, I know, but it's just because I'm your friend. Now I know that doesn't actually mean anything, but you know what I mean to say. Like it's like fucking battered housewife. It's so brutal. Being Destiny's friend must be tough.
Look, like a good example is that there's someone in your audience who's like, yeah, I don't care about this drama or these moral positions. I'm just here for the specific issues that I want to look at Destiny for. Whereas somebody who's like a bit more of a leftist or even just like a more principled somebody who's just like more concerned with like how good you are as a person when evaluating a streamer will probably sit there and say like, okay, well, I can't watch somebody who does this consistently or who said something like that because I don't really want to connect with them.
Yeah, but well, all right. Let's keep moving. I think that will be addressed.
For some reason, or for one reason, just because I have so much practice doing it. Because of that fact, and because oftentimes, like, the people that I have personal
So oh yeah, sorry. So because we went on such a tangent. So just to reframe back to where we were in the video. So he's basically saying, in order to defend other areas of my positions, like if he's got this like, you know, area of defense, what he's basically saying is he's willing to sacrifice like, you know, like this part of the fortress in order to make sure that the rest of it is impenetrable. Like there are points of consistency he needs to maintain that include him being allowed to say the N-word. Otherwise, other areas he finds it more difficult to prevent attacks from other directions, potentially in completely disparate debates that are totally non-related to the N-word. So in other words, he's basically saying he's going to sacrifice a pawn, his black friend, in order to save a queen.
All black people, you mean?
Well, yes.
Yeah, it's like it's a certain level of ruthlessness to sit there and say like, I'm going to do this thing that I know that you're not comfortable with, specifically because I want an audience who's okay with me doing it.
Well, it's not. I think he would argue it's not about the audience; it's about his own moral structure, right? Like it's not about what he's trying to appeal to the audience, because he doesn't. He again, like he's very willing to like just snipe bits of his audience off whenever they're inconvenient. This is why I don't think audience sits in this pyramid. I really do believe he wants the most defensible position. He wants to maintain consistent moral structure, again in service of this, but also in part to maintain his morality.
But he also wants contrarianism.
And he wants contrarianism because I think this is the closest thing you'll get to audience, because contrarianism is the funnel, right? That's how he gets new people in. They come in, they yell at him about incest, and then they think, oh shit, I got, you know, my guy got owned. And then they watch Destiny.
And if you're a woman, you also have to have sex with them.
It is deranged to an extent to...
Shit, where do we put sex in the chart? Fuck.
Okay, we're... Like, to a certain... Like, what we're saying to a certain extent is that he's prioritizing contrarianism over friendship with this person. Like, to on some level.
He's prioritizing contrarianism. No, I'm saying no. It's defense, right? Look at what he's just said. He just said that. Like, look, let's go back a second. All right.
Can you hear me? Testing. 1 2 1 2.
Chad, do you hear this right now, or is it just me? Let me say it again.
Can you hear me? Testing.
Okay,
1 2 1 2.
Yeah, I hear you. Good. Sorry.
Okay. So generally, I think I'm like pretty good at like debating people or getting people to agree with the point, logically consistent, or that my argument like is sound or whatever. Just because for some reason, or for one reason, just because I have so much practice doing it. Because of that fact, and because oftentimes like the people that I have personal relationships with, so whether it's a friend or girlfriend, don't do the same type of thing I do. When I'm having a disagreement with somebody and it's on an emotional level, it's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable for me to pursue that conversation because I don't want to feel like I'm trying to debate somebody out of how they feel. Looking at it like in retrospect, I can understand why to you it sounds like I'm basically saying like,
okay, so oh god, here's the most frustrating thing is that Destiny is the epitome of like technically correct but heinous as fuck. He's basically saying, well, I'm not going to try and debate you out of your feelings, so I'm just going to entirely disengage, so out of respect for your feelings. It's like
cannot talk about this.
Darling, listen, you seem really upset right now. I'm not going to listen. I could prove you wrong, but I don't want to because that would be disrespectful to your feelings. So instead, I'm going to play a round of League of Legends while you calm yourself down with a nice cup of tea, and you can come back to me in a more logical way. Okay, all right.
That's just like so stupidly invalidating. That's worse than just trying to debate Lord someone.
Yeah, I know. It is extremely patronizing.
oh well, sorry, that's your problem, get fucked. But what I mean when I say like this is like your emotional like reaction to this, like you can think what you want. I'm not trying to say like get fucked, like that's your thing. What I don't want to do is I don't want to get into an argument with you about how you feel, because even if you end up agreeing with me at the end, I don't know if like you actually agree with me or if I just like made you feel like shouldn't have debated you out of your feelings. And that's something that I always want to avoid that with people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm hearing your elaborate.
I mean, when he says stuff like this, I mean, oh god, it's a little close to home.
It's this weird situation where he's sitting there saying, he's effectively sitting there saying, hey, the way you feel literally does not matter to me. I will not change this position, but also like I care about how you feel, so you can just vent for a bit.
Yeah.
Like, he places no value on anything that's about to be said. Like he literally zero weight, but he wants him to say it because he understands that he should let him speak.
For a second I was like, fuck, that's me. But actually I remembered that in the last 4 or 5 years I've gotten a lot better at this, and what I've changed is I still kind of, you know, when my you know, girlfriend's upset, right, like or one of my many girlfriends is upset, you know, if a member of the harem is distressed, you know, and I don't have my top bitch available to deal with my bottom bitch available to deal with.
When the rock climbing club is mad.
Yeah, when the board game club is when Monopoly gets a little bit too feisty at the polyamorous board game bouldering club. No, what I do now is I can't help but do the debate bro thing. Like the way I talk is still like this, but I will basically engage with their feelings as if their feelings are totally rational and reasonable and important, right? Like I'll go the other direction. I'll like maximize the importance of every feeling, and they'll probably be the one who's going like, well, yeah, but I know I'm being a bit silly. It's like, no, you're feeling something. Like, all right, let's go, blah, 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 let's figure it out, right? Like, so it's like, I think you have to like go the opposite direction. Destiny's basically saying your feelings are invalid in the framework that I respect. I'm not going to enter your frame of like emotionality, so I'm going to just like step away and let you deal with it yourself. Whereas what you should do is enter their emotional frame and leave your logic shit behind and just focus on like their feelings and what's important to them. And then once you've done that, then you get, as a little treat for your little debate bro autism brain, you get to go up a level to the logic side. But you have to deal with the emotions first. You got to eat dinner before dessert. You got to do a little bit of schizophrenia before you get to do a lot of autism. All right?
Whoa.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
Sure.
Opposite sides of the spectrum. Schizophrenia is emotional, autism is data-driven. Stay mad? Look it up.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
I mean,
Am I wrong?
People,
Am I
people
wrong?
with autism can often
Answer
exhibit
no.
like emotional sensitivity.
What? Now he's crazy. All right, let's moving on.
Collaboration right now.
Like
and,
yeah, that's a thing.
Smug just thinks his ADHD is autism.
Oh
Emotional hypersensitivity is a real symptom of autism and ADHD.
So Chakkie, there's a concept in psychology known as, if I don't get to say the N-word, I'm going to have to be racist to something else, okay, or bigoted towards something else. All right, I need to vent. So today we're going hard on ableism so that I don't say the N-word, and then tomorrow I'll start saying the N-word every time I'm being nice to. Well, I nearly said the Osler. that would have gone too hard. Whoa. Never mind.
Concerning, I guess we can call that the resolve of the Raj. That was me being kind of like.
No, it's fine. I'm joking.
I wasn't being sincere to you there. I just kind of like conceded because I was emotional. You were in debate mode. Like I was emotional. I didn't feel like debating about it. I was shocked you kind of doubled down on giving me no kind of like empathy here or anything like that. And I was like, all right, I guess we'll just talk about it later because I don't feel like really.
Oh god, does Destiny treat women like this?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, it's terrible.
Well, that's
Busting out my emotions.
That's well
that
known.
does explain
That's
why
so
they
well
leave
known.
him.
Well, I just, you know, fuck.
That's like a really great explanation.
I wonder why. No, we're not going down.
You're
We're not going
30,000
down this
people.
route. Never mind.
Sure,
That's
and it's
a
like,
good point.
yeah, and again, like just to reiterate, like even if
Yes,
I come
it's
out
that
like, on
one.
top,
So
you
of it, like,
wonder
being
why
that,
he got
like, if
divorced?
there is something that bugs
Shut up. I can't believe Smug almost said Russell.
Is that what you meant to say? I know why. I've got a different entire theory.
No. We're not going down.
You're
Your
like trying to
fucking.
debate you out of how you feel about an issue. I'm trying to reiterate that hard because I understand that like it's kind of like one of those things like I'm sorry you're so offended, like that kind of apology is like okay. And that's not how I'm trying to come out. Like if you have like an emotional problem with something, and I'm not trying to frame this as like it's all on you or whatever, but like if there's something that you have that you want to work through, that you want to deal with, it's really hard for me to be involved in that process without it feeling like I'm just trying to debate you out of your feelings, just something that I never want to leave.
So he literally doesn't know how to enter an emotional frame that has respect for emotions. He just doesn't do it. He just can't do it at all. He's incapable. So he just has to disconnect. Now listen, if you were to assume, listen, let's imagine a world in which this is an immutable characteristic of Destiny. He physically can just not do it ever. He will never be able to do it. Then what he's doing right now is the most moral thing he can do, given that's the case. But that's not true. He can learn. He can learn to respect emotions. He can learn to enter the emotional frame. He can actually, in fact, fucking develop a little bit.
He
The
does
Grinch Stole
feel
Christmas.
things sometimes. So
I'm not saying he
learn
doesn't
to
feel.
more things. No,
Yeah, but
but
I
I'm
honestly
agreeing
think
with
if you
you.
watched The
Yeah.
Grinch, it would change his life.
There you go.
Like, that
Scrooge.
movie would be like so eye-opening.
If he watched Scrooged with Bill Murray, okay, game changer. If he watched that, it would cure him.
Friend or something, it's very hard for me to have that conversation because like
Yeah,
at the end
Good Will
of it, even
Hunting's a
if
good
it's like,
example,
okay, well,
dude.
did she actually like change how she feels about it, or did she look at it in a new light, or did I just like debate her so hard that now she feels like shit and doesn't want to talk about it anymore? Which is like something that I never want to do to anybody. I think it's a really shitty thing to do.
I can't help but feel it feels somewhat like ego preservation or some kind of pride where you just can't like concede that. Certainly, you can in retrospect now say that it came off a certain way and give me further elaboration, but my feelings have been hurt. That did hurt. I can elaborate further on that stuff if need be. But like, I don't know.
That
Honestly,
sounds like
just knowing
please
that
don't.
the willingness to even like
What sucks about this is that you're talking about a subject that is definitionally associated with emotion, right? The entire premise about whether you can say the N-word or not is based logically in the foundation of other people's feelings. How they feel about it dictates whether or not you can do it. So you don't get to just divorce yourself from the emotional part of the conversation, because the emotions are literally what dictate whether you're allowed to say the fucking word or not. So, like, of course you can give yourself the pass. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you just don't care about how the people around you feel, then sure, say what. Like,
all morality is derived of people's emotions, Smug. Yeah, to some extent. Well, like, all morality is derived from, well, I mean, subjective morality, sure. I get what you mean.
interpersonal morality, but
Yeah.
from like the way Destiny looks at morality is a lot more like in the political sense. So he's just looking at what objectively helps the most people, or in his eyes, right? So it's like very utilitarian.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily
everything's
need
a
to care
trolley
about
problem to
emotions. You can
Destiny.
just-
I mean,
Sure.
yeah, Kilo, I get where you're coming from. Like, I get, like, you know, subjective morality and all that. I do think it's possible to build a framework that isn't reliant on, like, an emotional connection to things. Like, there are things that I really hate being involved with defending that morally I have to defend, you know? Like, like I'm sometimes frustrated by the position I'm forced into. So that would imply that, like, I don't think it's derived from emotion, unless you're just talking about the foundational belief, in which case, yeah, sure, I guess some of my morality is derived from empathy, and that sure, then that, I guess that makes sense. I think you're just exhibiting empathy where you do that. Maybe. Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, it's non-falsifiable. Like, I don't know. You can always say that it's derived from some deeper emotional thing. But I don't even believe in
Bullshit,
free
the
will,
man.
so
Whoa.
It says bullshit. The man is not that deep. All he does is justify his feelings.
yeah,
Interesting.
that's
a very
cope.
interesting perspective. I
No,
was
it's
gonna say it
It's
feels
cope.
like he's just.
Sorry, it's cope.
Yeah,
it's
I
interesting.
don't
Chackie's
agree.
like, Chackie's like, they're saying what I feel.
No.
I know you don't believe it, but you feel it.
No, I was gonna say, like, it does feel a little bit like he's prioritizing his own feelings over somebody
Yeah.
else's, but he's not even prioritizing his own feelings. He's just prioritizing his own consistent moral framework.
Yeah.
Like, he's not
Crazy.
He
This
doesn't
debate
care about
doesn't-
any of
Hold
this.
on. This debate doesn't cover 90% of the context. So again, we're very, very... I want to be super specific here. We only care about creating a general theory of N-wordtivity. I actually don't give a shit about drama ever. I don't care about drama. All I care about is what drama can teach us about human interaction. I don't give a fuck about their relationship. What I care about is Destiny explaining in an honest setting what his approach to the N-word is and how he engages with someone who's been personally offended by it. That's all I care about right now. This is just a good example of the N-word. We're going to move on several years in the future right after this. We're not rehashing this drama, okay? We're just using this as an example to help us solve the problem of the general theory of N-wordtivity. A desperately needed piece in physics.
How you made me feel?
And for what I did that made you feel what? I am sorry if I come off as like very cold, or if I seem like really insensitive to you. Like I would apologize for that.
Apologize. So it was one thing, we can get into like semantics about the one thing about, you know, using the N-word, the hard R in private, or other edgy jokes that may or may not contain that word as well. But it was more your
There's a Higgs boson joke and fuck.
swiftness
Jesus.
to discount everything to make your point that the DC podcast, I can get rid of it. Your association with me, I can get rid of it. All to be on top in that particular debate because principles were above friendship.
So I don't view it as being on top of a particular debate, but yeah, I would throw away a lot in my life in order to hold fast to my principles. I've done it in the past, and I'll continue to do it in the future. Like I don't think you're anything if you don't have like some core system of values that you believe in. Like that is like a very firm belief I have.
Yeah,
it's one of the reasons why like I didn't have an abortion when my you know, my ex-girlfriend that hated me got pregnant. Like yeah, I'm really big on that, and I will make big sacrifices for the things I believe in. It's one of the reasons why I don't carry sponsorships or take deals from G2 or whatever. So in terms of like, I mean like, I guess like the interpretation, and I understand the feeling of this is like, oh, so like, you know, he just like doesn't care about me or doesn't like my show or blah blah blah. I don't think that's true. I mean like I think that like we're in like 30 episodes or whatever, something like that we've done for quite a while. Like I mean I've like enjoyed associating with you. I've enjoyed like having, you know, conversations with you. Like oh, this has been fun. But like I don't know. I guess like the idea that like here's a belief that I have, and then if I don't change it, that I hate you and I hate everything. I don't think that that's like a fair way to frame our I guess like the time that I've spent with you or the time that we've spent doing any of this stuff together. I feel like that's a little bit heavy-handed.
Well, I don't know if I even have a direct comparison here. I mean, I don't have a slur I can throw at you, Stephen, that is comparable to the one that you may or may not use in private that you admitted publicly. I'm not even really asking you to stop saying it. I'm not here to be the thought police on like what you say or do in your private time, because I obviously can't manage
That's only because you've seen pictures, okay?
I can't enforce it upon you, but at least the public reception of what you do can alter, at least show some remorse for admitting that you may not use a hard R in front of a black person.
I guess I don't understand what you're expecting me to show remorse for. Did I defend my like point on like saying like edgy jokes in private, or did I hurt you when I brought up that I say edgy jokes in private? Like
something like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Probably that. I think, and forgive me, I really should have gone back and rewatched the quote verbatim here, but
what quote verbatim?
Well,
I think we pretty much have like because like they're just gonna rehash this, and it's just gonna be Destiny repeatedly like not able to engage with the emotional side of this argument. So I think we've got all the context we need from this clip. The next piece I want to look at is Destiny specifically talking about the N-word with another person, another friend of his, who attacks him over it. Can we guess who it might be?